Two MAGA pranksters are going to be paying big time for one of their pranks, specifically their efforts to disenfranchise black voters during the 2020 election. We're going to get to the punishment, which is massive, but first, the crime. That is Jacob Wohl. His face might ring a bell. Thankfully, in the modern era, we don't have to hear about him very often, except when the legal consequences roll in. But him and Jack Burkman, they were the masterminds, if you can call it that, behind this robocall.
Hi, this is Sinister from Project 1599, a civil rights organization founded by Jack Burkman and Jacob Wohl. Mail-in voting sounds great, but did you know that if you vote by mail, your personal information will be part of a public database that will be used by police departments to track down old warrants and be used by credit card companies to collect outstanding debt? The CDC is even pushing to use records for mail-in voting to track people for mandatory vaccines. Don't be finessed into giving your private information to the man. Stay safe and beware of vote by mail.
It makes me so mad because I remember that robocall when it was originally going around, and it says so very much about these two troglodytes. But the good news is that while they did this and tried to get some black voters in important areas not to vote, they are now going to pay for it. 85,000 people apparently were reached by these calls, and that's a big number. But I've got a bigger number for you. It's $1.25 million that they will likely have to pay as a result of what they did. And Sharon, I don't know exactly what number I would put on it and consider that to be fair. I would have been perfectly happy to go much higher than that. But 1.25 million sounds pretty good. What do you think?
I think it sounds wonderful. These two frat boys decided to attack black and brown people using what they say is something inescapable. Blacks are criminals in credit risk, and so we must attack them where we can find them and do more fear mongering. So I hope that they actually have to pay every penny of this and that it reaches the people that they targeted. And maybe one day they'll realize that we can be great too, and indeed we are. While you do the devilish work that you're doing, hopefully you'll understand that we're not going anywhere, okay? I know you're trying hard, but we're not going anywhere.
Hey, I'm glad you're here. Listen, in order for the damage report to keep on going, we need viewers like you to become a member on YouTube. Can you click the join button on YouTube today? Thank you. And by the way, when you see turnout rates in elections broken down along like different demographics, and you see the incredibly high turnout among black voters, like, I think everybody, well, I was gonna say everybody considers that a good thing. Obviously, some people do not, and it must bother them so much. Oh God, it must bother them. And then, so they're paying $1.25 million. And I'm gonna give you a statement from Letitia James, who just keeps cranking out the hits. But anyway, but first though, I just want you to stop and think. And I almost wish that I could get Brett to do a sketch of this. Imagine these two pathetic racists workshopping what the robocall is gonna say. Because they're like, okay, how do we get these people? Well, we make them scared because they're all criminals, obviously. They're all about outstanding warrants. So we're gonna get them. And then they're all in debt, so we're gonna scare them that way. And can we throw in a reference to the man? They like that. They like things about the man. It's just so stereotypical, so pathetic. Like, oh God, if you just like got ChatGPT to produce something that a dim-witted racist would want in a robocall, that's what they got. So, pathetic. But anyway, here is a statement from Tish James, the AG in charge of this. The right to vote is the cornerstone of our democracy and it belongs to everyone. We will not allow anyone to threaten that right. Wohl and Burkman orchestrated a depraved and disinformation-ridden campaign to intimidate black voters in an attempt to sway the election in favor of their preferred candidate. Now they will pay up to $1.25 million to my office, the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation, and the individuals who are harmed by their scheme. My office will always defend the right to vote. And I love that some of this money at least will go towards hopefully increasing turnout in future elections. That's a fun bit of irony to close this thing off with. What do you think?
It's fitting. She is a champion, people's champ. I do rather love her affect, and I know that's just a superficial thing to note, but I love it. I love her statements. I love it more when she delivers them. And I'd like to follow these racists and see how they evolve, if they can, throughout the years. And yes, the fact that it will go, we hope, to more Black turnout. That heavy lift that Black people have been doing for so long is just icing on the cake.
100%. Also, just try to keep this story in your mind the next time a Republican's like, why do they call us racist? Why are you always smearing us as racists? And by the way, everybody watching this, you'll know I never said in this story which candidates they were supporting, but you already know, don't you? She said in favor of their preferred candidate. She didn't say who, but you already know. You already know. When you click the join button and become a tier 2 member, you get access to all of our weekly top 10 lists. What are you waiting for?